It's February. Be honest. When was the last time you touched your root word? That word you chose so carefully in January, the one that was going to guide your whole year, the one that felt so alive, so true, so perfectly you when you discovered it. Can you even remember what it is right now without checking your journal? If you just felt a little pain of guilt, you're not alone, because by February, most root words are already dying. Not because you chose wrong, not because you don't care, but because intention without ritual is just a beautiful idea that withers. Welcome back to our sacred pause, beautiful soul. I'm Gwen, and today we're going to save your root word's life, because that word you found, it's not meant to be a museum piece. It's meant to be lived, breathed, embodied every single day. Here's what happens every January. We do this deep work. We find our word. We feel that click of recognition. Yes, this is my guide. We maybe even buy a bracelet with it, right? Or write it in pretty letters in our planner. Then life happens, the daily rush returns, and that root word, it gets buried under grocery lists and work deadlines and the beautiful, messy reality of being human. By Valentine's Day, it's a distant memory. And by March, we've forgotten we even chose one. By next December, we're wondering why this year felt so anchored, forgetting we had a North Star all along. We just never looked up. Let me share something that changed how I think about spiritual practice. Your brain needs between 21 and 66 days of consistent repetition to make something automatic. But here's the kicker. That's for simple habits like drinking water and taking vitamins. For something as profound as embodying your root word, we're talking about rewiring your entire way of being. That's not a 21-day project. That's a daily practice for life. But don't let that discourage you, because here's the magic. You don't need 66 days to start feeling the shift. You need about 3 days of consistent ritual before your root word starts breathing again. A week before it starts guiding you. A month before it becomes your operating system. Think about this. Every spiritual tradition on earth has daily practices. Muslims pray 5 times a day. Buddhists have morning and evening meditations. Christians have daily devotions. Indigenous peoples have sunrise ceremonies. This isn't coincidence. This is wisdom. They understand what neuroscience is just now proving. Transformation doesn't happen in the peak moments. It happens in the daily returning. Your root word is sacred technology. But like any technology, it only works if you turn it on every single day. I used to think I was bad at consistency. Turns out I was just trying to be consistent with the wrong things in ways that didn't fit my actual life. When I finally created rituals that worked with my reality instead of against it, everything changed. Let's talk about something that took me some time to understand. You know, those beautiful morning routines we create, the meditation, the journaling, the movement, the tea ceremony. Those are precious. They're your deep roots. Please don't abandon them. But here's what I discovered at 2 p.m. on a random Tuesday, feeling completely disconnected from my morning practice. One sacred hour can't carry an entire day. Your morning ritual builds the container, but if you don't keep filling it throughout the day, it empties. By afternoon, that beautiful morning meditation feels like it happened to someone else. Well, what if we thought about it like a garden? Your morning practice is like the deep watering you do at dawn. Essential, foundational. It reaches the roots. But plants also need light throughout the day. They need air circulation. They need you to notice if leaves are wilting. They need tending, not just one deep soak. Your root word is the same. It needs that deep morning connection and little touches of attention all day long. not because you're doing it wrong, because you're creating a living system, and living things need consistent care. This isn't about adding more to your plate. It's about infusing what's already on your plate with intention. It's about creating a conversation with your root word that lasts all day, not just doing your morning pages. I'm going to share the 5 types of rituals that actually work in real life, not Instagram life, real life, where people interrupt and meetings run long and sometimes you eat lunch in your car. Type 1, anchor rituals. These are your non-negotiables. Maybe it's touching your root word with your morning coffee. Maybe it's speaking it before bed. Pick one time that happens every day, no matter what. Even if you're sick, even if you're traveling, this is your lifeline. My anchor, I speak my root word in the shower every morning. The water's already running. I'm already there. It takes 5 seconds. Type 2, transition rituals. Every time you shift from one thing to another, you have a chance to touch your root. Home to car, car to office, meeting to meeting, day to evening. One breath, that's all. One breath where you ask, how does my root word guide me here? If your word is trust, maybe that means trusting the meeting will unfold perfectly. If your word is presence, maybe that means arriving fully before you walk through the door. Type 3, trigger rituals. These are rituals tied to things that happen naturally. Red lights, washing hands, waiting for your computer to boot up. Every time this trigger happens, you return to your root. I have a client whose root word is flow. Every time she hits a red light, instead of checking her phone, she asks, where am I forcing instead of flowing? The red light becomes her teacher. Type 4, crisis rituals. When everything falls apart, and it will, you need an emergency ritual. This is your spiritual first aid kit. When you're triggered, overwhelmed, about to react from old patterns, this ritual brings you home. Mine is simple, hand on heart. Speak my root word 3 times, ask, what would my root word do? My root word is trust. It takes 10 seconds. It saved me 1,000 times. Type 5, celebration rituals. This one we always forget. When something goes well, when you make a choice aligned with your root, when you catch yourself embodying your word, celebrate it. Not a big party, just a moment of recognition. I choose trust in that conversation. I stayed present even though it was hard. This recognition builds the neural pathway faster than anything else. You don't need all 5 types. Start with 1. But no, they're all available when you're ready. Here's how to create a ritual that actually sticks. First, stop trying to design the perfect ritual. Perfect rituals die by day 3. Instead, ask yourself, what can I do even on my worst day? Because your worst day is coming. Design for that, and your ritual becomes unbreakable. Here's my recipe for rituals that survive real life. Make it tiny, 5 to 30 seconds max. Attach it to something you already do. Choose consistency over complexity. Let it bend without breaking. Let me share what it looks like in actual lives. Sarah's root word is brave. Every morning, her coffee brews. She puts her hand on her heart and asks, what needs my courage today? 4 months in, she's had harder conversations and taken bigger leaps than in the previous 4 years. Marcus chose peace. He touches his root word at every doorway, a 2-second pause before entering any space. His family noticed the shift before he did. You bring calm with you now, his daughter said. Elena's word is home. She created an evening ritual. Before bed, she lists 3 moments where she felt at home in herself that day. Simple, powerful. She stopped searching for home outside herself. Notice what these rituals have in common? They're not separate from life. They're woven into it. They don't require special tools or perfect conditions. They work in a hotel room, in chaos, in joy, in grief. This is how your root word stays alive, not through perfection, but through practice. Beautiful soul, your root word is waiting for you right now, not judging you for the weeks you've forgotten it, not disappointed in your inconsistency, just waiting like a patient friend ready to guide you home. This isn't about becoming a different person who's suddenly perfect at rituals. This is about being exactly who you are and creating practices that honor that truth. If you're chaotic, create chaotic rituals. If you're structured, create structured ones. If you're somewhere in between, create rituals that dance between both. There's no wrong way to tend your root. There's only your way. Here's what I want to invite you to do this week. First, remember your root word. Speak it out loud, feel it in your body, welcome it back like the friend it is. Then choose one ritual, just one. Maybe it's an anchor ritual with your morning beverage. Maybe it's a transition ritual between work and home. Maybe it's as simple as touching your heart and saying your word before sleep. Start there. Start today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not when life calms down, but today. Because here's the secret. Your root word isn't waiting for perfect conditions to guide you. It's ready to work with your real life right now, exactly as it is. We think we need to get our lives together before we can maintain spiritual practice. But what if spiritual practice is how we get our lives together? What if that daily touching of your root word is the thread that weaves everything else into wholeness? What if consistency isn't about perfection, but about returning again and again, like waves return to shore, like breath returns to lungs, like you return to your root? Next week, we'll explore what a 5-minute morning ritual can do when it's designed to work with your real life, not against it. But for now, for this holy moment, I invite you to simply choose your ritual and begin. Your root word has been waiting. It's time to bring it back to life, not through grand gestures, but through daily devotion, not through perfect practice, but through persistent returning. You don't need to be ready. You just need to begin. Thank you for showing up to tend your root, for being willing to create rituals that last, for choosing practice over perfection again and again. Your root word is medicine the world needs, but first, it needs to be alive in you, fed daily, tended gently, trusted completely. Begin today. Your future self will thank you. You are rooted, you are ready, you are held.